19 years marked the first transition from the SmackDown series into the SmackDown vs. Raw series, and no game highlights the change more than 2006. As mentioned, welcome to SmackDown vs. Raw 2006. This is the main menu. You'll see that they're split, Raw and SmackDown on the left and right, which is very awesome, along with a unique soundtrack of licensed music. Don't think this is the first game to have licensed music, but it's definitely one of the better soundtracks of all the WWE games. I think the soundtrack in this game is pretty sick, actually. So let's have a look at some of the features here available. So you do have your traditional singles, tags, triple threat, fatal four-way, blah blah blah. The Royal Rumble is here, and you also have your main event section. Your main event section contains all of your special matches available, things like 3 Stages of Hell, Backstage Brawls, Hell in a Cell, Elimination Chamber, blah 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 blah. Although this game doesn't feature any specific new match types, it does feature additions such as a new handicap option. So there's new handicap options, one on 3, I'm guessing 1 versus 3, and 2 versus 3. Those are the two new options for this game. The Royal Rumble is also listed as new. The 10, 15. Is there a 10 option? Yes, a 10 option, 15 option, 20 and 25 options are brand new in SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, which I actually didn't know. That's actually pretty cool that they added that in that year. We also have new environments. We have the Bar Brawl and the Backstage Brawl, so that is very, very cool. I remember the Bar Brawl especially being very, very cool, so I would like to try and get one of them going in this video. This is one of my favorite match types that I've always done when I was younger was the Battle Royal. I always thought it was so cool that you could have 6 people in the ring and it's basically like 6 single matches going on at the same time. The Battle Royal match is the one I've played the most. This game is the first game to introduce the over-the-top rope Battle Royal, which actually moving forward would become the norm. Sorry, I was actually completely wrong when I spoke earlier. There is two new match types entirely new to this year's game. There is the Buried Alive match, which does feature in the season mode for this particular game, and of course the Fulfill Your Fantasy, which is just a bra and panties match. We will not be playing that on this video. I'm going to tell you that right now. There are also additions to Special Referee, which I did not know about as well. So there is a additional Hell in a Cell and Last Man Standing options that have now been added to 2006. There are also now options for a triple threat tornado tag tables match. That sounds pretty crazy actually, because it's a 2-on-2-on-2. So 3 tag teams where they're all legal at the same time. So it's a tornado tag. And the goal of the match is to put your opponent through a table, so that's also insane. And I guess all of these match types are available within a title match option. So nowadays, you just set up the match with the champion and you just click a button to put the title on the line. Back in these early days, you would need to choose the option specifically for a title match for it to then flag as a title match. So our current champions in this particular game save, we have the World Heavyweight Champion Batista, the WWE Champion Big Show. I'm pretty sure John Cena would have been champion at that given time. Our tag team champions are Daivari and Hassan. Our world tag team champions, which are the Raw tag team champions, La Resistance, Rene Dupree and Rob Conway. The Intercontinental champion is Carlito. The United States champion is Dad of the Year, Chris Benoit. Cruiserweight champion is Chavo Guerrero. Okay. The women's champion is Trish Stratus. The $1 Million champion is, of course, Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man. And the hardcore title belongs to Mankind. So, yeah, just for our first match here, let's put the hardcore title on the line. So this is going to be the Bar Brawl. So the object of the Bar Brawl is to beat your opponent senseless by using the objects within your environment as weapons. And to use the environment as a weapon, Irish whip your opponent into the equipment and then grapple them by pressing circle. You can also drag the opponent by their hair towards an object to initiate a grapple to do additional grapple attacks. So this is SmackDown vs. Raw 2006. I really do remember these locations pretty well. I don't remember this specific part of it. It's usually more to the left that I remember. I think they did actually grow this over the next few years, but there's lots of different ways that you can interact with this environment. So basically everything that you can see, I literally just threw Mankind over the bar there, which actually looks pretty insane. And even looking at that table there, that standing table has the spinner belt design on it with the middle part spinning, which I think looks awesome as hell. That's actually really cool as well. So I kind of want to bring him over here to the jukebox, because I think there might be some interaction with the jukebox, but I've accidentally just thrown him back into the bar. There we are. So yeah, there's definitely some interaction there. It lit up, which looks really, really cool. I think there's a neon light there on the side there that should also be able to be interacted with. I don't know how you drag people though. Oh, you can actually climb on top of that table. I didn't realize you could actually do that. That's pretty badass. So we are doing a grapple here, and we're gonna whip Mankind's ass with the pull cue there. There is also a way to put him through the table. I think if you have a finisher, I think you can actually put him through the pool table as well. But looking over here, we have other options, other things to interact with. If only I could remember the controls, that would be swell. There are these beer bottles here, which I'm pretty sure you can actually pick up, but I can't remember the buttons. So let's Irish Whip Mick here. Oh, that didn't work either. Oh, unfortunately, I don't remember what the button is to pick people up either. So I think I'm gonna have to. If I store the finisher and I Irish Whip Mankind into this pool table, I might be able to do my finisher. No. That's unfortunate. I can't remember how to do it. There is a way to do a finisher through the pool table, but it's okay. We have lots of other things to interact with here. So going over to this location, then there is a basketball hoop. So if we throw, you've probably seen this one on TikTok, it's really popular, but if you throw Mick into this basketball hoop thing, there's actually quite a few different interactions. Here's one where you can actually throw basketballs against his head, and you see that we picked him up and we hit him with a flapjack. But the first time we did it, the first time we did it, it was a flapjack. The second time we threw a basketball at his head. I don't know, man. I don't know what's those are baseball bats in a glass case. Let's see what interactions we have with them here on the wall. There must be something, surely. Yeah, we can throw him into it. Oh my god, he was like upside down. That was crazy. Oh no, we're here and we're hitting a Stone Cold Wait, what? That shouldn't have happened. Why did he just no-sell that entirely? Oh, I don't know how to. Oh, it's literally just the circle button. But we have done a Stone Cold Stunner. He didn't go through the pool table, but that's close enough. To be honest, we can probably just get a pin off of that. 1, 2, 3. As Mankind defies gravity. That is the bar brawl. I absolutely love the bar brawl. Funny enough, this isn't the bar brawl I was remembering. I think I actually remembered next year's bar brawl. I think they put a new bar in there. There's still lots of interactions, but don't worry, we'll get to 2007 shortly. That was the bar brawl, and now we have a new, unfortunately because it's a bar brawl, it has a different ending animation, but if we were playing a regular animation, we would have a new hardcore champion, Stone Cold Steve Austin. So let's have a quick look for the roster here. We'll start at the very beginning. Alright, so we're starting here with Bautista. He was pretty big at the time. We got Big Show, Booker T, Carlito, Charlie Haas. Interesting choice for Charlie Haas to be there. I don't even remember him at this given time. We have Chavo Guerrero, one half of Los Guerreros. Dad of the Year. We got Chris Jericho in his kind of blonde mid-hair situation. He's actually just about to leave the company at this given point. I think he's about to go start doing Fozzy full-time at this for this specific thing. I think it is this year he faces Jericho in that dumpster match. Or not Jericho, he faces John Cena in a dumpster match, and that's what takes Jericho out for, gosh, 3 years I think it was. So Chris Masters, he's making his debut in this game, and I remember being quite excited at the time for Chris Masters to be in this game, but you know, nowadays who cares. We have Christian, who is doing the Christian for Peeps situation there, or he's fighting for his peeps at that point. He may have been with Tom Cole, Tyson Tom Cole, is that his name? Maybe that's a little bit before this time. In fact, no, it isn't, because this game has WrestleMania 21. So yeah, I think he was with Tyson Tomko at this time, but unfortunately Tomko never made it into this game. But I think he does appear in one of it's either the GameCube or the Xbox games at this given time. We have one half of the Basham brothers, Danny and Doug Basham, who I don't think are brothers. I learned recently that they were just two single people in OVW who were put together as a tag team and ended up becoming the Basham brothers, which is it's one of those things where like the Undertaker and Kane aren't really brothers. Well, when you look at them, yeah, but I always thought Danny and Doug Basham actually looked similar. Anyway, this is Eddie Guerrero's last game, I think, before his passing. I'm not sure. He passed away actually shortly after the release of this game. I mean, we're talking weeks of the release of this game as well, which is really unfortunate, especially since I think in the season mode, the Undertaker does actually threaten to kill Eddie Guerrero, which I think was a controversial talking point at the time. I remember people being quite distressed by the fact that the video game was talking about Eddie's death prior to it actually happening. But you know, these things accidentally happen. It wasn't intentional by any stretch. We have Edge, who is probably coming off his first title reign, if not extremely close to it. We have Eugene. The less said about Eugene, the better. Although he has started a YouTube channel, Nick Dinsmore, I think his name is. He has started a YouTube channel in the similar vein of Maven and Devon Dudley. We have Heidenreich, who I think is his debut here. I think he is new for this game. Yep, Heidenreich, this is his first appearance, although he wasn't around for very long, admittedly, so yeah, but he is somewhat memorable. We have the Hurricane, who also is making his video game debut here. JBL appears. He was in the last couple games, I'm pretty sure. John Cena getting a really hefty overall bump within either SmackDown vs. Raw or this one, because within that first year, obviously, Cena had like a huge, this first title run happened, I think, just at the end of his first year, and it just totally like blew up his popularity. We have Unmasked Kane, who I think was in the previous game, but even still, it's cool to have Unmasked Kane here. We have I never know how to say his name, if it's Crossrow or Crossrov, or if there's some like weird pronunciation that I'm just not aware of, but Daivari, we'll say, he is making his video game debut here. Kurt Angle is an absolute badass in this game. Yeah, he's very, very cool. I just love Kurt Angle in the video games always has a really high overall in most of the games that he's in, and I find that pretty crazy. Mark Jindrak, who may or may not have been in Evolution at any given point. We've always known the story to be that, I'm having a double take now, am I sure it's Mark Jindrak? I'm pretty sure it is Mark Jindrak, but apparently he was supposed to fill in that enforcer role in Evolution, to the point where he even filmed vignettes with the team and was eventually then replaced by Batista. Batista says that isn't the case. They were always going to use Batista in these videos, but I don't know, man. Why would they film it with Mark Jindrak regardless? It seems odd. Muhammad Hassan here, who is the victim of unfortunate world politics at the time. I always thought he was pretty cool. I admittedly didn't like the character, but he was a heel. He wasn't meant to be liked. I think he is quite an unfortunate. He's an unfortunate victim of WWE's racist booking at that given time. But I've heard he's gone on to have a great career as a high school principal or teacher or something to that effect. Orlando Jordan, who I know nothing about. I just know that he was JBL and Kurt Angle's right-hand man as the co-general manager or whatever it was, as the advisor to the general manager of SmackDown. We have Paul London, but I don't think Brian Kendrick's in this game, which is unfortunate. So it means you're only getting one half of the Hooligans, even though they were a pretty popular tag team at the time. Although this is Paul London's first appearance in a video game. You also have the returning Randy Orton, who's hot off the heels of Evolution and his first World Heavyweight title reign when he defeated Chris Benoit. Rene Dupree, one half of La Resistance. Dupree was in the previous game, but Conway wasn't. Conway does appear in this game, so we are actually able to complete the tag team of La Resistance. Rey Mysterio appears, that's very, very cool. We have Ric Flair, obviously Evolution. RVD appearing, Rob Conway, as mentioned, part of La Resistance. Scotty 2 Hotty in his weird mid phase where there's no Rikishi and there's no Grandmaster Sexy, so he's kind of just doing his own thing. Yeah. Shawn Michaels returns in this game, and I quite well he was in the previous games. I really like him in this game. However, there are pretty strict weight limits in these games, so using Shawn Michaels can be quite a pain because a lot of the people he faces in these matches, he's actually not able to pick up. He's not able to do traditional wrestling moves too, which is incredibly frustrating. We have Shelton Benjamin, we got Snitsky, it wasn't his fault. We have Spike Dudley, but I think he's the last surviving Dudley in this game. I don't think the other two are in this game, so Spike is doing his own thing, and I think he might be here for one specific arena. I don't know if there's any particular reason why he's in this game, other than being maybe a cruiserweight for the general manager mode, which we'll get into as well. Steven Richards appears. Again, this is awkward Steven Richards, where he's not really doing anything. He's not part of the Right to Censor. He's just kind of being a wrestler. To be fair, I wasn't really watching WWE at this time, so if he was doing anything, I wouldn't remember it regardless. There is Sylvain Grenier. They are making their debut in this game, I think. He's really not been in many WWE games, so I'm going to presume that this is his debut. Yeah, it is. I don't even remember if he makes it into the next one. But yes, again, I keep saying the name, La Resistance. Awesome tag team name, I guess. And we have Tajiri, Triple H, Undertaker, William Regal, and then we get into the Legends section. Quite a few Legends this year. Andre the Giant returning. This isn't his. This is Superstars not in last year's game. Sorry, I'm looking off screen at another monitor that has a listing on the roster. So this has a list of Superstars who were not in last year's game. Andre's not on that list, so he must have been in SmackDown vs. Raw. It's been a little bit since I've played that, obviously for the channel. Bret Hart returns here as well. We have British Bulldog, who is making his return to the game. There are 3 versions of Hulk Hogan, which is really annoying. So you have Hulk Hogan 80s, who is wearing that red bandana and he's got the yellow trunks. There is a Hollywood NWO Hulk Hogan, which admittedly is probably his best look. And then there's a more modern Hulk Hogan where he's a little bit older and he's wearing like the long yellow tights. Here's the controversial inclusion this year, Jake Roberts. Not for any politics, not for his life choices and all that for once. It's just the fact that Jake Roberts was actually exclusive to the PSP version of the game. I can't remember the actual name of it, but the PS2 had the ability to link up to your PSP. It was just a USB cable. So what you would have to do at the time was you would have to own 2 copies of the game. You would have to have a PSP version of SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, unlock Jake Roberts within that game, and then when you have the PS2 version, you hook up your PSP by USB, you go into the options menu and you do like a system link to your PSP. If you've done everything correct and you link in the PSP and it reads the game save, it will then unlock Jake Roberts within this game. Now, this is not something that ever really cropped up ever again, and it's probably because it's a super shady business practice, and it was super lame that they locked a character behind a whole other console and version of the game. Although I do like the synergy they were doing, I do like the idea. I just think in practice it just meant that the vast majority of people who played on the PS2 didn't have Jake Roberts because either one, they weren't going to buy a version on the PSP that they had already got at home on the PS2. But also, yeah, buying a whole other... If you didn't have a PSP at the time, then you'd have to buy a whole other console just for the sake of having Jake Roberts. And realistically, you're not going to do that because the only other PSP game really worth a damn would be like Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core. And as amazing as that game is, it's just not worth having an extra handheld console just for one game. Anyway, I'm hung up on this because it was a big deal at the time. And I remember not being able to use Jake Roberts, which was super lame. Although nowadays with the improvements into emulation and being able to share game saves through emulation, it makes Jake Roberts more accessible within the game. So I'm really glad that we have him here and I've been able to use him at least at some point in my life. We also have Jimmy Hart, who's obviously a manager for many of the legends. He makes his debut here. Probably not the best wrestler in the world, but it's cool to have him there as an option, especially for managers, as mentioned. JYD, Junkyard Dog, also making his debut here. Junkyard at this given time, he appeared in so many WWE games. He's like the modern day equivalent of like Doink the Clown, where like nobody knows anything about Junkyard Dog, but he just appeared in all these WWE games. Nowadays, I'm looking at Doink the Clown going, why is Doink in so many of these fucking WWE games? Like he's, not to diminish what Doink has done in his career, but I'm just like, why is he in every single WWE game? It's crazy. Anyway, continuing the list here, we got Mankind, we got The Rock, and we have Steve Austin. I don't know if this is right, it might be the previous year, but I'm pretty sure The Rock and Austin this is the first time that they're counted as legends in the roster. That might also be the previous year, so don't quote me on that, but this is definitely that awkward transition time when The Rock was not here at this given time. Yeah, Austin had retired at WrestleMania 19 and The Rock was off filming movies at this time, so yeah, they weren't around at this time. We have Ted DiBiase, as mentioned, and then we get into the women's division. We have Christy Hemme, Joy Giovanni, Lita, Michelle McCool, Stacy Keibler, Tori Wilson, and Trish Stratus, and that's the entire roster. These games do this really annoying thing where they make the overalls of women really low, and I've never really liked it. I don't know what the thought process was for that back in the day. I don't know, men and women could face each other in these games because that wasn't stopped until 2009, but having their overalls so low made it basically impossible for the women to ever win. So I don't know why it was like that, and it also just straight up made the women weak for no reason really. Also, Joy Giovanni is in this game. Couldn't tell you anything about her. Don't know who that is. Never heard of her. So, sound off in the comments if you know Joy Giovanni. Maybe she's, I don't know. Maybe she's ECW. Maybe she's like, is she Diva Search or something? I don't know. I've never even heard her name in passing. I just know her from this game. So, I mean, there may be a huge fan base out there for Joy, and I'm just not aware, but I don't know who she is. Has she got another wrestling name? Is she like someone else that I'm just really not aware of? Alright, so leaving the exhibition mode here, we can go into the game modes, and you'll see that we have 3 options. We have the option for the season mode, general manager mode, and pay-per-view mode. The pay-per-view mode, just like in SmackDown vs. Raw, allows you to create your own pay-per-view. So you just create a card, and you're able to just play through the matches in sequential order, and you can set title matches. You can set up any match that's available in exhibition. It's basically just a playlist of matches for you to play through. As mentioned before, this game has general manager mode, and my brother would host Raw and SmackDown, and then I would host ECW, and I would do ECW through create a pay-per-view mode. So this actually brings back a lot of memories for me. I always remember also having the sample pay-per-views available, because the sample pay-per-views are basically what was available, or a recreation of those events in the game, and you can play through them. So yeah, if we go to play sample pay-per-view and go to WrestleMania 21, you have the option to do Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle, JBL versus it's literally just 3 matches. Okay, Shawn Michaels, Kurt Angle, JBL versus John Cena, and Batista versus Triple H. Interesting, it's only 3 matches though. So if you go to New Year's Revolution, you have the Elimination Chamber. Edge is in there. I don't remember Edge being in that chamber. Interesting. You have the Royal Rumble, which apparently was Big Show, Kurt Angle, JBL, Randy Orton, and Triple H. And then of course the 30-man Royal Rumble. Taboo Tuesday has Edge, Benoit versus La Resistance, and Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and Randy Orton, Ric Flair in a cage, no less. Wow, I don't remember that at all. I really was not watching it this time, so bear with me. The season mode as well is very cool. I'm glad that this doesn't have a save in there, so we don't have to see anything just now. But I will be starting a series on the channel called Season Mode, where I play through every weekend, every Sunday. I'll be playing through a season mode within a WWE game. So we started with SmackDown 1 and 2, and we will eventually make it all the way to other WWE games. So I'm really excited to play for this one. I think I remember this one being essentially Who Killed Teddy Long. The season starts with Teddy Long getting ran over by a mystery person in a limo or a car or something, and throughout the year there is a storyline that unfolds that basically alludes and it ties into who ran over Teddy Long at the start of the year. And there are different branching storylines as well for Raw and SmackDown, and yeah, it's all voice acted, and there's lots of really, really cool stuff. So I really appreciate what they did for this season mode in particular, and I can't wait to actually play it. Now, of course, the biggest new addition for a lot of people, myself included, is of course the general manager mode. So you have the option to, well, I already have a game save from a previous video. I think there's an abandoned video that I did a while ago that was comparing 2K's My GM to the first version. I think it was the first version of My GM to the first version of general manager mode, but the video never really panned out the way I wanted it to, so it just kind of died. So here is just a random version, or a random game save I have of GM mode. I think it's literally still the first or so week. In fact, yeah, it's still the first week. Oh no, it's not the first week, sorry, it's the first month, so it's after Backlash. So with this being the first version of general manager mode, it's definitely not as maybe in-depth as the later versions of it, but I actually think this general manager mode is still better than what 2K is currently offering. All you have to do is just book shows, and at the end of it you can look back at your cards and get ratings, right? So this is the first show that I guess I put on with my drafted roster. There's a women's title match, Jericho Batista, Carlito Eugene, La Resistance versus the Bashing Brothers got 1.5 stars. Hoofed. Eddie Guerrero versus JBL, and then Edge versus Undertaker in a steel cage match for the WWE Championship. And you see, each match gets a rating, and you get a show rating overall, and that just affects the ratings. And none of this, the game doesn't criticize you for putting different classes together. It doesn't criticize you for doing any too many singles matches. None of that. These are the little nitpicks I have of the current My GM. General Manager mode is literally just you put the card together however you like, and based on the matches, affinities, and the popularity and the storylines, then you get better or less ratings depending on the quality of the show. And you're putting that against either an AI playing SmackDown or a friend. It is a 2-player mode, so SmackDown obviously whooped my ass that week. Holy shit. So they put on a much better show. So they had 2 singles matches there, 3 single matches. Even their single matches outranked mine. Now the TLC match between Orton and Benoit, that's awesome. Cena and Shawn Michaels tore the house down, and then the main event was a hardcore match between Triple H and Kurt Angle. They didn't even have a title match, and they still whooped my ass. That's crazy. So every single show has like a set cost. I think 50k is like the set cost of a show, and then you build on top of that. So, you know, current My GM has like different charts and ratings and social media and all this stuff, and I just don't think it's overly necessary. So here's roughly what you're seeing, and you get like an income statement. It's like a big receipt, right? A big tax receipt. So at the beginning of the week and at the end of the week, and then you can see your incomes and your expenses. So you can see that, like, well, I made 38,000 from merchandise. That's awesome. There's no advertising income because I didn't run any advertising promos. The live attendance was almost 300,000. I'm guessing that's in dollars. It's probably not people. And then you get like a television revenue, which I think is kind of just your base revenue per show. You get your match costs, because each match has a cost. Single matches don't cost anything, but then your hardcore, your Hells in Cells, they don't cost money, but they cost in like travel fees. I think having to haul the cage to different locations and all that. You have promo costs if you want to do some special promos, the arena costs and contracts and trainers and crew and all that. It's just it's simple, it's easy to understand. If you wanted to go into the minute details of this and keep track of all those numbers, you can very easily do it. You also have like a WWE.com news article here, so you can see all these are all like, you'll see these hundreds of times, right? You'll see them over and over again. But it doesn't matter, because I think it's still very cool. It changes based on what's happening on the show as well. So it says here that after heated negotiations, Chris Jericho and Raw have come to terms on a new contract. So I guess, you know, Jericho's contract was expiring at the end of the month, and he probably emailed me to say, hey, my contract's expiring, I want more money, and then we were able to discuss that. You can see here as well, Trish Stratus's contract is expiring next week. So it says there, I wonder if the general manager will let that contract run out, or will they be able to negotiate it out? And it's these little things of like, okay, so as a general manager of Raw, I know that Trish Stratus's contract is expiring. Perhaps I can get her from the free agency. You can also get like, you know, here's like Our trainers have reported that Undertaker had an injury. Yes, he has a very minor injury, back spasms. I don't know. And the top ticker at the top tells you the rankings of like who won what week and who gets what ratings and stuff. So yeah, you can certainly look through lots and lots of stuff. The most important thing, of course, is the fan support. So you get a really nice chart here with the rating lines going up and down, and you have little tick marks for what the major shows coming up are. General Manager mode also has cross-branded pay-per-views here, so things like the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, actually maybe not SummerSlam, but definitely like Survivor Series has a main event tag match where you put your guys against SmackDown guys, or whatever your other brand is. The Royal Rumble, you have 15 people in your brand, SmackDown has 15 on theirs. I think the main event of WrestleMania is also your champion versus their champion or something to that effect as well, which is very frustrating, don't get me wrong. Sometimes it could be really, really annoying to, take away from the pay-per-view that way. But that is essentially how General Manager mode works in this game. You can also go into the roster page and you can look at people's, their contract lengths. So like if I wanted to look through their contracts, or if I wanted to sort by when their contracts are expiring, so I can see that obviously the Bashams are about to leave us, and even some of the legends that I've hired are also leaving us. You can see the injuries that they may or may not have. So Undertaker has back spasms, right? So he is injured for 2 weeks, so he won't be as part of my show, even though he is happy. His fatigue is a little high. And yeah, you can again, it's not even a simple system. Behind the scenes it's actually really complicated, but the being able to manage it is actually very easy. If we go into the rivalries as well, so rivalries are not set in a menu. They just generate automatically, right? So there's a big block of text there at the bottom explaining it, but basically if you put a match on between two people and the game deems it a rivalry, it will appear in this menu, and it kind of just naturally finds out what rivalries work and what don't. So I've been able to put in a good 4-week storyline here with Edge and The Undertaker, and based on the thumbs up, actually gives it a boost in the ratings. And it could eventually, it could fizzle out and it'll start getting thumbs down, in which case you probably want to stop it, but it could also just keep going. So we're only a month in, and we've got 6 storylines here with thumbs up, and that's good because you could actually carry those feuds forward to other months, and maybe you don't want to blow them off at the pay-per-view just yet. But yeah, if you just keep these rivalries going, I should say, and the longer it goes on, the more bonus it will add to the match rating and the superstar popularity levels. So again, very good system. I like how it's just kind of randomly generated. I would prefer a bit more control with the rivalries, but that is actually something they did do next year, so I'm not going to rag on it too much for that. You can also trade between the two shows as well, so you can actually look at their roster, and you can see all that information that we were able to see in our roster page. You can see their information here, so I don't think anyone's injured, but you can see the contract status here. So like Triple H has like 48 weeks. That's insane. They bought him for like the whole year, it looks like. So if I want to buy someone like Triple H, or if I want to trade someone like Triple H, or I want to get Triple H from SmackDown, I probably have to trade quite a bit to get him from them as well. But then it also takes into account morale. Like if Triple H has a really long contract but he's not happy and his popularity's maybe dropped a bit, he might be more willing to come over if I offer less, just because of his morale. So there's lots and lots of things to consider, and there's also the free agency here. You can actually sort by lots of different categories. So like the most popular wrestlers here on the free agency is like Hulk Hogan, for example. I already have a Hulk Hogan. I can't even look at the fucking thing, but yeah, you can have a look on here, and the lower the popularity, the cheaper they tend to be. But there's also lots of other caveats with that as well, because obviously do they fit on your show? Do you have a full roster? What is their morales? And just things like that as well. You can also add and remove characters as well. So the most annoying thing about this game is that you can't adjust this roster before doing the draft. So when you do the initial draft, you won't have access to the legends that are in the game. So people like Stone Cold, Andre, The Rock, none of them are here, unfortunately. It's not until you get into the menu, into week 1, when you can actually go in here, and then they appear the next week. So it won't be until week 2 that you can actually hire the legends that you are wanting to use, if you're wanting to use The Rock and Stone Cold and Andre and all that. And then, yeah, looking at the match listings here, again, you have 6 match slots. You just go in here and you select whatever match you want. So let's just, I don't know, sure, whatever, let's do a random fucking match. Yeah, sure, whatever. And then it goes in there, and that's it, you know. Your promos are there as well. These are the promo options you have. If you've just hired someone, you can actually run a promo to boost the popularity of that wrestler on their first week. You could do a rivalry, which allows you to continue the rivalry while not putting on that match. So like, I've got Undertaker and Edge, maybe I want to promote that while not using them on the card, or maybe they're doing something else that week. Maybe Edge is fighting someone else, so I can still keep that feud going. And you'll see there that costs $2,000 as well, so that adds to the show cost of doing that. Starting a rivalry here can be done in a promo as well. Inactive superstar, so if I have somebody injured, like the Undertaker, right, because he is injured, right, so I could do that, and it would stop his popularity from going down, because if people aren't on the show, their popularity goes down. And doing the inactive superstar promo will allow them to, you know, regain their fatigue or heal from their injuries while maintaining their popularity. You also have the injury return promo. So if you have somebody who has a major injury, this is a very expensive promo as well, $50K. But if you have somebody returning from a long-term injury, say they were out for like 10 weeks with like a broken leg or something, you could actually run this and generate quite a bit of hype for their comeback, which is very, very cool. You also have an advertising promo that will generate $150,000 for you. So that's obviously really good for generating that huge revenue. You also have a merchandise sponsorship, which is actually very, very cool. It allows you to gamble how much you're making, so you could actually make more than $150,000 from the merchandise sponsorship, but there is also a likewise chance that you make less. So it's interesting. Do you want to use an advertising promo and guarantee make that $150,000? You know, you can run 2 advertising promos in a show and you could make $300,000, but if you do the merchandise sponsorship, you could actually make a lot more than that. You can also boost the match rating for the main event. You can also build hype for an upcoming pay-per-view, which I'm presuming will increase the fan turnout or something. I'm not really sure how that works. You can also do an interference promotion and a slander promotion. So these are the interferences when you send someone actually physically to interfere, kind of like what DX did to WCW. You can actually send someone to physically go interrupt that show. And you can also do a slander, which is basically like Eric Bischoff slagging off Vince McMahon or whatever. You can do like a promo in the ring that basically says the other show's shit. Unfortunately though, these two can backfire, so if you send someone over there to the other show, you can't actually boost their ratings, and it might actually detract from yours. And likewise with the slander promotion, kind of like the butts and seats, you know, thing that Tony Schiavone said famously about Mick Foley. If you do a slander promotion, there's also a good chance that other people will watch the other show, so you need to be really careful about how you use these promos. So that's going to be general manager mode, the season mode, and all the other game modes, and also the full roster. There is one last thing in this game that I want to show off because I think it's really, really cool. There is a customizable locker room in this game. This isn't my locker room, I didn't design this, but you have these set locations within the locker room. So going over here, you've got your desk, and you can see that there's like an Olympic gold medal on the left, and there's a John Cena chain on the right. You can actually change these objects out if you so choose. And you can have like a completely designed, like I think you can design the walls and the lighting and some of the furniture and stuff within the room. I'll go for that in a second, but looking at this menu here, you can see that there is a WWE shop, stats, and a challenge mode. So what's the challenge mode, you might be asking? Well, back in this game, you had a list of challenges to do. So if depending on the difficulty that you wanted to do them on, I mean, you could just do them naturally by playing the game as well, but if you want to do these legend challenges or something, there is like a WrestleMania 12 rematch, and you get a whole bunch of money for that. It says here, you just have to select Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, defeat Bret Hart in an Iron Man match at WrestleMania 9 on Legend. That's it. I mean, it'll be a really long Iron Man match. I'm sure it's an hour long. But yeah, it is part of the challenge. Here's one that's Rock and Austin. Defeat The Rock in a no DQ match at the WrestleMania 21 arena on Legend. And these are all going to be legends. These are all WrestleMania matches here as well. So here's Defeat Stone Cold Steve Austin in a submission match in WrestleMania 9 on Legend. And it's very, very cool. And you have all these other things as well. So here's ECW. Defeat Eddie Guerrero in a singles no manager match at ECW on Hard. And there's all these different challenges, and they're all very, very cool. What's this Rest in Peace one? Defeat Kane in a Buried Alive match as The Undertaker on Hard. And I really, really like these challenges, right? So this is John Cena versus Batista in a... Oh, this is predicting the future of WrestleMania. They actually did face each other at WrestleMania. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, these are all just challenges made by the devs, right? And you get money for them. You get quite a lot of money for them doing them. And yeah, I just think something like that needs to be in the game now, if I'm being completely honest. I think that's just a great way of generating your VC or whatever you call it. It has to be in the game. So I'm hoping that they implement something like that in the future. It's a little old school, but I mean, it's a video game, right? It worked back then, why wouldn't it work now? But the money that you make from these challenges can be used in the WWE shop. And here's where it gets really interesting, because you can unlock, you know, your characters from here. So here are your legends, right? So I don't have the prices here. I don't know how much they were. But yeah, this is where you unlock all your legends, Jake the Snake, blah, blah, blah. You can unlock the hardcore title, the $1 million title, whatever. If I click R2, I actually go to the locker room shop, which is a different shop entirely. And what this has is a whole bunch of collection items for the locker room. So here's like bobbleheads of The Rock and Hulk Hogan. Here are a stack of JBL $100 bills. Here is British Bulldog, which I think was called Matilda. I don't know if that's right. There's a Kane mask. There's a Batista figure. And if you go through here, here's furniture. Here's lava lamps, leather couches, casino tables. You can change wall items. I can have barbed wire, guitars, posters. Here are some, you know, locker room items of like memorabilia, chairs, metal lockers, and trophy cases and belts. And here's all this other shit, right? None of this actually matters. But what it does is it allows you to decorate the room. So if I go to customize locker room here, we can actually decorate the room. So if I want to change the wall, you know, wall point 1, I can change the items on here. So let's put a caution sign up instead of the Eddie Guerrero poster that was there. You can change the wall color. So if I wanted to make it the WWE logo, I can do that. There it is. If I wanted to make it the white, horrible white that's there, I can do that. Basically a white drywall. The floor is marble right now, but if I want to change it to like a WWF New York style carpet, I can do that right there. And these are all items that you can unlock through that shop that I just showed you. And I think it just goes to show the difference between video games now and video games then. Because nowadays, 100%, those things would cost VC, it would cost you real money, and they would be able to add new items in every, you know, DLC release, and you get really cool items, but it would cost you real money. You wouldn't be able to unlock it within the game. And I just think that this highlights a huge issue with the video game industry these days, because when I look at this and I think, God, this is really cool that I have the ability to customize my locker room however I want with all these different objects, and I can change the furniture and I can put all these items here, and all I had to do back then was play the game, complete challenges. I think that's cool as hell. But nowadays I'd have to just spend real money, and I just think that's sad. There'd be no option to earn it in game, and you just have to spend money, and that's, again, depressing. And it's not just like superficial. There is actually a reason for this being here. It helps in season mode. I think you do stuff within the season mode here. I think I don't know, you do stuff, I don't know. We'll get there. But when you do stuff in the game and you do unlock certain storylines, for example here, there's a Undertaker's Urn. Defeat the Undertaker in a Buried Alive match in the SmackDown season mode. You unlock the urn and it goes onto your trophy case. If you, through the General Manager mode, if you complete the General Manager mode and become General Manager of the Year, you will earn this trophy and it will go into your locker room. Similarly, if you go into season mode and you win these titles, the title then appears on the locker room wall, and you can look at the belt and you can spin it around and do whatever you want. And I just think, like, again, such a cool idea. I just really appreciate what you can do in these early games and all the little, like, fun things that they just let you do. Alright, enough talking. I think it's time that we end the video with a final match. So let's do a Buried Alive match. We're doing Undertaker versus Kane in a Buried Alive match, of course. I probably should say as well, so the control system for this game is quite interesting. I don't think they changed anything too major this year. Basically, triangle is still your run attack, circle is the grapple, and you have the option to do these grapple positions on the 4 directions, and then you can do 4 moves from those positions. So 4, 8, 12, 16 available moves for any character, just that, you know, from a standing position. But then you've also got other moves available to you from, you know, corners or ropes or lying down or whatever it may be. It's also the X button to attack, so you can do any kind of strike in any direction that you want to do as well. But there is also the reversal system, which is grapple moves are reversed with the right trigger, and strikes are reversed with the left trigger. So you just have to balance and watch. You have to watch the game to figure out what move is going to be reversed with what button. To assist that, though, they do actually have a option, or you can see the reversal button on the screen, right? So that tells you what button to press when to reverse these moves. One of the funny things that I quite like about the control system of these games is to do an Irish Whip attack, you have to press the grapple button and the run button at the same time. So you have to use like your entire thumb to, you have to use your entire thumb to hit the circle and triangle buttons at the same time. Which I find really funny, considering that even in WWE games now, in, you know, 2K24 and 2K25, you actually still can't do an Irish Whip without doing a grapple first. So this is something, even though the SmackDown versus Raw game has quite a similar control system to the current WWE 2K games, this is an issue that they also ran into and something that they solved very quickly. So the fact that we're now 3 years essentially into the 2K, you know, what I consider to be the proper 2K, right? Because 2K22 was a proper reinvention for the series. So we are now at 2K25, presumably leading into the 2K26, you know, season not pretty soon, but, you know, within the year. Oh no, how do I stop this? What do I do? Tap any button. Oh my god, have I just lost this? I just lost the fucking match. That's because I was talking. Anyway, 2K, sort your shit out. Let us Irish Whip people without grappling first. That'd be great, thanks. Well, I unceremoniously lost this match just because I wasn't paying attention to the controls, obviously. But hey, whatever. You get to see the cool animation of me getting buried alive. I mean, I'm in the casket, but even still, that is the end of the Buried Alive match. Kane has destroyed The Undertaker once and for all as the lightning strike hits, and I've been buried alive. And that's going to be SmackDown vs. Raw 2006. I have a lot of memories for this game. I don't know if it was one that we played particularly often. We weren't really watching around this time. I didn't really get back into wrestling until 2007, which will be the next video on the channel. But yeah, I think they introduced a lot of cool new features. I really like the season mode. I like the gameplay in 2006. I really like what they did with General Manager mode as well, GM mode being probably one of the biggest features that they've ever added to the WWE games at that point. And with it supporting multiplayer out of the gate as well. But yeah, these considerations were made back then when they were implementing these new features, but sometimes they get missed nowadays, which is a big shame. And I think with this game in particular being a huge tonal shift, the gameplay completely slowed down and changed for 2006, leading into a new generation as well. Next year's game would come out on the Xbox 360. I think this does mark a changing of the guard, essentially a change for WWE games moving forward. So if you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing. Let me know in the comments down below what you remember from SmackDown vs. Raw 2006. I can't wait to get into the other SmackDown vs. Raw games as we move forward and do these full retrospectives. And yeah, if you want to see more, please consider liking the video and obviously leaving a comment. It really helps us grow the channel. We just hit 500 subscribers, which is insane. In fact, we're over 500 now. And all I can say is thank you so much. 500 subscribers will give us a chance to maybe start monetizing and growing the channel in other ways monetarily, and allowing me to put more time into it. Also wanting to give you guys the best value. I know that sounds like, oh, Gary just wants money. Everyone wants money, but I also want to give you the best value possible, which is why, even though we've hit 500, I haven't enabled any monetary features because I don't think I'm giving you that value yet. So once I feel like I'm comfortably hitting that value and there's a reason for me to put memberships on, then maybe that's something we can explore. But right now, don't worry. I just want to make wrestling videos about old games. That's all I want to do. That's going to be us for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed SmackDown vs. Raw 2006. Have a great day, and bye for now.